Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book that he's read this week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I've read this week is this one. It's called A Stranger in the Family by author Jane Casey. It was published as a hardback here in the UK on the 14th of March 2024 by Hemlock Press, and it helpfully tells us on the front it's a Maeve Kerrigan mystery. And indeed, it's the 11th Maeve Kerrigan story. I have to admit, I haven't read any of the previous ones, but I like detective crime fiction. Previous books had been well received, and I thought I'd give this a go. So what's it all about? Well, in this story, the usual pair, Detective Sergeant Maeve Kerrigan and her boss, DI Detective Inspector Josh Derwent, are called to a crime scene. It kicks off where they find that a married couple are both dead. The initial assumption is that they're called Helena and Bruce Marshall. The initial assumption was that Helena had been very, very ill, had been murdered by her husband as an act of, because she was very ill. So he's murdered his wife, and then there's Bruce has had half his brain blown away by a gunshot, has committed suicide. Maeve, however, notices things, and she notices that this crime scene is all a bit too tidy, and she's wondering what's going on here. And sure enough, instead of being murder-suicide, it turns out they've both been drugged and it's a double murder. To complicate matters, there is a connection between Helena and Bruce, the two bodies found murdered, to a disappearance of their daughter, Rosalie, 16 years previously. Rosalie was a nine-year-old girl, just disappeared overnight, never been found. And as Maeve and Josh start investigating the murder of Helena and Bruce, they realise that there's a connection with the previous disappearance of Rosalie. And really, they've gone from now one case to two cases. They contact the person that was responsible for the original investigation into Rosalie's disappearance, who's now retired, and he tells them, they're as thorough as possible, and they just couldn't find out what happened to Rosalie. Maeve and Josh think maybe they've missed a few things, and they get to work with their team. They've got Liv and Georgia who are helping them. They're under pressure from their boss, who's always looking at budgets and clearly looking at records of old cases, which they do. They've got boxes upon boxes of evidence that's filed away that they need to go through. But eventually they start picking through the clues and finding clues that lead them to what's going on with both cases. There is the usual, it's modern crime fiction, there's the usual interfering crime podcaster. And one thing that's perhaps different about this murder mystery is that the relationship between Maeve and Josh. I haven't read the previous books, so it's a bit will they, won't they? They work together, but Josh has got a partner and a son. Whilst they've got a good working relationship, they've also got a personal relationship. So, in effect, they're star-crossed lovers of detective crime. And that theme goes through the book of Maeve and Josh and their relationship and the fact that it's complicated. And I know perhaps you get to the end of the book and you think, why don't they resolve this? But the book is well written. It's a great murder mystery. I read a lot of detective fiction. I didn't realise who the perp was until right at the end. So great twists and turns. They work well together, Maeve and Josh. And there's a cliffhanger at the end, which is Maeve and Josh related. So a really good tale. Really enjoyed it. I want to read the next one. If I'm being picky, I'd say perhaps there's a little too much in this one about the Maeve and Josh relationship and their feelings toward each other and how they cope with working together and their feelings towards each other. But as I said, that's just being picky. I enjoyed it. Good read. Didn't spot who the bad guy or girl was. And a nice little twist at the end. So I'd give it 7 out of 10, well worth a read. That's it for this week's Brief Book Review. 10/10 to do it again. Thanks for watching.